So I decided to remake this video. Book review of A Perfect Union of Contrary Things, the Maynard Keenan biography by Sarah Jensen. I uploaded a video doing the same thing a couple nights ago, but it was all bruh. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little tipsy when I did that. Kind of a bad time to make a video, I guess, or do a book review, but whatever. I'm still gonna leave that up just for shits and gigs, but this one will be better. And yeah, Sarah Jensen, the author, this was actually the first book I've ever read by her. I'm actually not familiar with any of her work at all, but this is definitely the best biography I've personally ever read. Grant you, Maynard Keenan's kind of a hero of mine, so, you know, but I found it very inspiring and a lot of little interesting points in it that I never knew. It was just inspiring in the sense that it talks about, you know, Maynard's struggle especially after he got out of the army. He had a lot going on in his early life. You know, his mom getting sick or getting paralyzed, whatever. He had to move to Michigan, live with his dad. His dad was very strict, and when he joined the army, he was almost a career soldier. Like he had the opportunity to go to a West Point Prep Academy. Like, he excelled when he was in the army, but he ended up turning it down and moving to Michigan. Started a band, formed the band CAD, but yeah, very inspiring book. It talks about like Maynard's early life and like especially like his early struggles, like after he got out of the army. Like I think a lot of people could relate to. You know, he was just kind of lost, like looking for his place in the world, basically. And he went from the army to Michigan to Boston, to California, yada, yada, yada. You know, he was all over the place in his 20s when he was young. And I think a lot of people could relate to that. But yeah, the book gets really, it starts off kind of slow, I'm not going to lie, like in his childhood, but when it really starts picking up is when he moves to Boston. That's when stuff really starts getting interesting. He worked at a pet shop, basically, I'm trying to think of what you would call it, like, what he did was like set up the store and like designed, you know, what products go where, like basically to like get the customers moving throughout the store. And he liked working with animals. But anyway, another little interesting point that I, you know, found interesting was that something he used to do just for his own little kick back in the day was he used to go visit tarot readers. And when he was in Boston, part of the reason I think he actually moved to LA, when he was in Boston, he went and visited a tarot reader one time. Went into the store, gave him 20 bucks, whatever. And she didn't really insist, but she just kind of mentioned to him, like threw it out there, like he should try moving to Los Angeles. And then I think he kind of walked away, like, you know, shrugging his shoulders, not really thinking it was bullshit or not really believing in it. But one of his favorite books, I can't remember the name of it off top hand, it talks about it in here, but it was actually one of his favorite books, or one of his favorite authors, that inspired him to move to Los Angeles. And so he ended up doing that, and you know, that's when he met up with Bill Manspeaker from Green Jello and like Adam Jones from the guitar player from Tool. And yeah, it talks about just how Tool got going there, and basically the struggle there. And yeah, the interesting thing, that's when the book really starts getting good. Interesting thing, Tool, like in Los Angeles at the time they formed and came about, the glam metal scene was big prior to that, but it was dying out very quickly. So they were right place, right time. The city was looking for like a new fresh sound, and then these guys like Rage Against the Machine, there were some other bands that were like kind of took over and dominated the music scene. But these guys got signed to Tool got signed to a record label just after I think 6 months of playing clubs in Los Angeles. But yeah, so it talks about that. It goes into Tool, you know, how they formed, how they met up, and all that, yada yada yada, getting signed to the record deal. And another interesting thing about the tarot readers, I think he visited one in Los Angeles after they made the Undertow album, their first album, and mentioned to him the names Paul and Justin. And weirdly enough, not too long after that, Paul D'Amour left Tool, and Justin Chancellor from London filled in to be the bass player, and is still our current bass player. So, yeah, just a very inspiring book. It just talks about, you know, Maynard's like upcoming and like how he worked through like some of his own like inner demons, like inner turmoil. A lot of people could relate to it. They really could. That's part of how Tool got formed. Was like, it even says in the book, quote unquote, "I had to scream." Like he just had some shit he had to let out of him. And then it goes from there into when, like, you know, they start getting big, and to when A Perfect Circle gets formed with guitar tech Billy Howerdale. After the Enema album, Tool took a little break, and then they started that. And funny enough, this is very commonplace nowadays, but A Perfect Circle was the first band to ever independently promote themselves via internet and gain like substantial success off it. Nowadays with social media and all the other stuff, that is like very common. But they were the first band to say fuck you to the recording industry, the music establishment, and say fuck you, we're going to do this ourselves, we're cutting out the middleman, and they succeeded. I think that's pretty awesome. And then from there it goes into when he moved to Jerome, Arizona, and started Puscifer and like got into his winemaking. And for me, I'm not very passionate, like I'm not really into wine, so that's when the book kind of started getting boring for me, but I muscled through it, I did finish it, and something I never knew, that was actually when he met his current wife, Laylee, I think that's how you pronounce it, Laylee, and I never even realized that Maynard didn't get married until later in life. I knew he had a kid from earlier, like around the time Tool got formed, but he had a kid, what the hell is this kid's name? Can't think of it off the top of my head, but he had a kid with another chick that he wasn't ever very serious with, and then later on in life, once he got the wine thing going, Laylee, she started out as his assistant at Caduceus Cellars, Merkin Vineyards, and then they formed a friendship, and just over time they became soulmates and got married, and they have a daughter. But yeah, very interesting book, very good read. Something like Maynard Keenan isn't a rock star. I'm telling you what, this guy is fucking smart. This guy's a fucking entrepreneur, man. Like, this guy he's got balls, and he took some fucking major risks in life, and they paid off for him. But, like I said, very inspirational book. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link down below to Amazon. You can go just check it out if you want. And also be sure to check out my Facebook page, Lateral Universe, where latest on updates on the new album, Tool news, art, etc. I'll put a link in the description below for that too. So there's my book review, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.